Tom, you there? Tom. Anybody on the line?
Yes, Steve's here. It's May 20th. I heard somebody Wednesday, May 20th, Patrick Devine Group conference call starting.
Was that Tom that said that or what?
No, that's me. I just said it.
Okay.
I heard him say the conference is being recorded or something. This conference is being recorded.
Yeah, that's why
nobody said anything. I'm the only one that talked. I was like, hey, everybody say hello. You're supposed to speak up. Nobody wants to talk. They're all a bunch of mutes.
Well, see if Tom comes on here. Anybody got any questions? Did everybody get that file that I had Tom post up there today?
I just saw it.
Go ahead.
Yes, I saw it. I didn't really get to go through it all as I wanted to because I had to go and pick up someone. But, as far as what I've read so far, I mean, it's straight to the point. You're going straight to the trustee and telling them to, appropriate the funds like we talked about. It's pretty straightforward.
In the Office of Honor and Credit.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to discuss. What is that office in reference to?
It's addressed in the Constitution. Okay? But it's only addressed in one place, and it really doesn't call it out in any special capacity, but it does in when you can read between the lines. And I had to take a double take on it because I thought it was in there in three places, but it's only in there in one place. Office of Trust and Office of Profit are in there 3 times, but the Office of Honor is only there in one. And then it's honor is really credit. If you look up in Valentine's Dictionary, Office of Credit and Office of Honor are the same. And basically, the office is the office that gives you access to the credits of the Treasury of this country. And that goes along with your certificate of live birth, which basically is a special, irrevocable, confirmed, patented letter of credit against the Treasury of this country. And see, we were trying to make it bills of exchange and all that. No, it's just a letter of credit. But we have to come in and you have it on your checks, okay? Authorized representative. Well, to be a representative in this country, also in the Constitution, you have to be of the age of 25. Okay? And now you are really a U.S. Treasury authorized representative in your officer of the Office of Honor and Credit. So you are a U.S. Treasury authorized representative to access the credits that are held in the Treasury. In other words, you can't be a debtor anymore. especially when you go in and you order the termination of all your leases against your letter of credit. You're going to pay for them right now with the credits that you draw out of the Treasury. So you can never be a debtor. And that's what all the president on down, everybody else in the government is a debtor. So you're standing in a superior office to them because you're a creditor. You're at the top of the pinnacle of a triangle. They're down at the very bottom, either in office of trust or office of profit position. But they're still operating for profit because the United States, we the people, when we created the Constitution, we created a government that was a bank, was a bonded, bankrupt, for-profit corporation. It's not a non-profit organization. It's a for-profit organization. And like any corporation, they have to zero their books at the end of the year. So any excess credits that they haven't splurged out here and tried to hold from the people and take and hold out of the Treasury, and that's why all these congressmen and everything are out here are writing all these goddamn phony baloney bills so that they can try and spend the money so it don't go into the Treasury. But we now, with our certificate of live birth, and we understand that we are a Treasury officer in an office of honor, we can go in and draw those funds out and put them to real use, not the phony baloney use for the corporations. You can send this in by fax into your U.S. trustee and then send the certified copy up to him. I would also strongly recommend that you turn around and do a fax to the U.S. Treasury Inspector General, notifying him of this, and that you have your right of self-defense against any and all persons, as you are now a U.S. Treasury officer. At the very end of the document that I had Tom post up there, I had the conclusion, Part 5. And as an officer, U.S. Treasury officer, I am demanding my U.S. Treasury officer's official credentials of honor as a Treasury personal identification cards of honor, vehicle tags and plates of honor, international passport of honor, U.S. Treasury accessing debit cards, in my case, for my 2 U.S. Treasury letters of patent patented accounts, one for my citizenship patented account, and one for my military ship account. And then all of my, I expect all my Treasury Officer of Honor protected immunities as a non-debtor addressed in the United States codes or statutes and codes, because we're now in honor, we're a creditor. That's really what the word honor is about. Means you're a creditor. You're no longer a debtor. you woke up. And I tried to address this thing in that letter. I'll give you an example of just about everything, the write-up of what it's got 5 parts to it. And the first one, we come in and we establish our status. Then we address our letters of credit used as alienated bailments.
Mm-hmm.
Then we address the subleasing accounts, like the driver's license, certificate of title to your vehicle. In my case, I've got a certificate of salvage, voter registration, the different usages of the Social Security out there, number, and basically I've got about 5 of them that basically I can fully substantiate. Medicare, Veterans Administration, the Social Security Administration, the state of Iowa, and the United States Corporation are all using that Social Security number in a different format, and basically they are a subleaser, so the IA or US or SS or MH or VA goes in front of those as a subleasing, okay? Makes all the sense in the world to me. I don't know whether you guys can see it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like I said, go in and check it out in the Constitution. Article 1, Section 3, Office of Honor, Office of Honor, Trust, and Profit. 3 offices. And what they're referring to in that section is that if you get impeached, you cannot hold one of these 3 offices, or any of these 3 offices. And that means that basically you can't have access in the Office of Honor. You can't have access to the credits that are in the U.S. Treasury any longer. And that's the biggie one right there. You've just been banished from being able to access the Treasury. Now, all the shit that the corporations have done out here trying to hide this stuff away, and the state corporations and everything else out here for profit, putting driver's licenses and all these other certificates out here, they have been trying to deprive us from getting to this point to being the true creditor. We always knew we were the creditor, but we couldn't put our finger on how to get recognition as being that creditor. We have to get all of the liens, all the subleases, alienations removed from our letters of credit. It's that simple. And nobody, I don't think I've ever heard anybody out here on all these different calls or anything like that ever mention that that certificate of live birth was a letter of credit. It's not a security, it's a letter of credit. And it's an irrevocable letter of credit. You've got unlimited access to credits out here, and you have to operate them in honor. We never really alienated, okay, or we never really were classified as an alien, okay, but we did alienate by going and signing up for the driver's license, for the Social Security card, and all those, by allowing these subleasees to get in a sublease contract with the Secretary of the Interior against our patented letters of credit. And since the Secretary of the Interior is also an officer of profit, he went right along with them. But you have the remedy to, especially per the Expatriation Act of 1868, to disavow any for-profit alienations. And there are different enforcements. Now, when you are a U.S. Treasury officer, and like the facts that I had Tom post up there that went along with this document that I sent in to him, I said, this is a U.S. intergovernmental fax. It's from one government official to another government official. And I'm the superior government official because I'm the creditor and they are a trust or profit agent. That's really what we, the people, were supposed to be. We were supposed to be an officer of the Office of Honor. Okay, open it up for questions. You there, Tom?
Yeah, Patrick, I got on at 8:10. I had a trouble with my headset, but I had the control panel up, and I saw when you came on and started recording.
Okay.
Okay. So I've heard most of it.
Anybody got any questions?
I have to listen to the first 10 minutes of this. Oh.
Anybody got any questions? Has anybody looked at the document?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now. I didn't have a chance to look at it completely, but now I'm in a position to read it, and I'm at the conclusion. And like you said, letter of credit. I have been working with someone by the name of Jonah Bay. I will say his name for about maybe 6 months now, and like you said, a lot of people are not addressing it as letter of credit, but he was addressing it as letter of credit, even pointing us to the UCC. And just from my position, you guys are going in the same direction. I think that you are already there. I'm just watching, though. You're already there, so you're teaching me how to complete the process. And everything is just coming together just from my experience of seeing someone speaking on the same lines. I mean, you guys are saying almost the same things, but your style is just different. And I think it's awesome just from my experience.
Okay. Now, in reference to using the UCCs, you use the UCCs as a last resort.
Okay.
Okay? Because what the UCC is, it's a commercial lien. So if the subleases do not vacate, okay, it's sort of like you rent to somebody your farm ground, and basically you terminate their lease with them, and they do not vacate the farm, okay, then you have to place a lien upon them. So that's what the UCC is all about. It's a commercial liening process. So if these, even against a for-profit government officer, okay, if they do not comply with your order, then you can place a commercial lien against that U.S. trustee or whatever. But you have to come in and make the order for the settlement first. That's the first step in the process. Even like going into court, you can't file charges against the judge until you have offered and ordered the prosecutor, and then the judge disregards your order of settlement in the process and continues on his fair, merry way because he's out there to try and make a profit. Then you can turn around and file a commercial lien against that judge with a UCC. But you also have to know that you're standing in there as a Treasury officer, and that's what really gives you the authority to place that commercial lien against the debtors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more you look at this, I mean, basically finding that office of honor out there and then realizing that this was really a letter of credit in the process. And then when you look at what it says about a letter of credit, especially out of Black's Fourth, I like the definition there the best. Valentine's didn't have that much in it about letter of credit. But a letter of credit is in the nature of a negotiable instrument and is a letter whereby a person requests another to advance money or to give credit to a third person or promises to repay person for making advancement. So you can basically go out and you can request money, like going to the bankruptcy court and taking it in there for $10,000, or you can turn around and deposit it into a bank and have that on deposit, that letter of credit, and then they would process it through the system to put funds into your non-interest bearing, because you can't operate this for a profit. So it's got to be a non-interest bearing checking account or debiting account, okay? You can turn around and give credit to a third person, like you can put this letter of credit on deposit with the utility company. When the bill comes due, they can go in and deduct that amount of credit from your letter of credit with the Treasury. The third one is basically the repay person making advancement. You go down to the local store and you buy something. You have the receipt. You turn around and you turn the receipt in to get the credits back out of the Treasury for what you just purchased. And then it goes on down, further down, saying a confirmed irrevocable letter of credit. But it's a special letter of credit in that it is made out to one particular individual. And see, I have two of them. I've got a military one and a citizenship one. And they're both made out to two different individuals, my fictional persons. One is for Patrick Devine, the other one's for Patrick Paul Devine. I took on a confirmation name. And that's what I was using when I had the second one for the military in place. But it doesn't make any difference. I still am the owner. I am the holder of those certificates or those letters of credit. I'm the holder of them. Now, one of the other things out here. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say, I did a process where I sent my birth certificate off to the state to be authenticated, and they sent it back. I got the authentication. Sent it to John Kerry. He authenticated, and a law that was on the authentication was holder in due course. So they specifically tell you you are holder in due course, and it says full faith and credit.
Yeah.
They telling you to your face.
Have an apostille for?
Taiwan.
Okay.
So I was outside of the Hague Convention.
Yeah, you can use that. You can't use that apostille one here in this country.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
You can only use it in Taiwan.
But the thing is not apostille. It's just the authentication. They didn't do the apostille because I noticed that other people who did it, they actually did get theirs apostille because they used a country that was within the Hague. So because I used Taiwan and Taiwan was not a part of the Hague, instead of them giving me the apostille, they just did the authentication.
Yeah, they couldn't give you an apostille because, okay.
Yes, sir. So that's all I was saying was the law that they put on there, it actually said holder in due course.
Full faith and credit.
Yes, sir. It says that right there on and it has John Kerry's wet signature.
Yeah, and why does it say that? Full faith and credit, because basically that is giving you access to the Treasury. If you were to go over there to Taiwan, you can use that as a letter of credit and buy anything over there and have the charge-off be sent to the Treasury of this country.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that's what a letter of credit does. It sends it back to the source of the credits to be drawn from.
Because I tried a discharge process where I sent my negotiable instrument notary presentment, and I titled that the birth certificate was a letter of credit. I didn't call it a birth certificate. I said letter of credit because I just sent them a certified copy of it with the instrument and the 1099. And I just sent that maybe a week and a half ago. I haven't heard anything negative. I sent it for the electric company to pay the bill for a year. I haven't heard anything bad from them yet, so I'm just giving them time to go through the process. So I can't really report anything yet.
Well, the first thing you need to do is terminate that account you have with the utility company. Because, see, the initial account you did was using your Social Security number. Then you come in now as a creditor, and you place this certificate of live birth on deposit. Okay?
Okay.
You
with
place
the electric
it on
company.
deposit as a letter of credit.
Gotcha.
Then they can turn around and write the bills off against that, but they won't be able to write any bonds or anything else against it.
But is that what they do when they have your social?
Yes, they're writing bonds. They are a subleasee. Yeah, that account number you have with them, that is a subleasee account. Just like the driver's license, just like the certificate of title numbers. Those are subleases, and basically they're going in and placing liens against our letter of credit that is being held in a trust with the alien property custodian, internal alien property custodian, in the Secretary of the Interior's office.
Okay.
But, we could take our letter of credit and place it on deposit, and then they can only draw what we demand to be taken out. We authorize them to take out the monthly bill that we would owe out here. But see, you get a bill from a utility company. Now, this is what most people don't understand about that bill. You take a look at it, and basically it is a mixture of bill of credit and bill of debt. Okay? A bill of debt, an old term including promissory notes and bonds for payment of money. Okay? It is called a bill obligatory and was both sealed and unsealed. Now, one of the things that I was going back over was trying to do accepted for set-off and settlement statements that we have. And when you get a bill, okay, it's a bill of credits owed per their tenancy account number. So we are accepting for set-off and settlement the credits that are owed to us as the landlord for their tenancy or their leasing usage of our assets. We're giving them back to them. We're not going to say you've got to pay those over to the U.S. Treasury at the end of the year. And then we come in and we sign it, date and sign it by as a U.S. Treasury authorized representative. Now, do you think they are going to rebut that? No. You are a U.S. Treasury authorized representative. You can call in the CID and the Inspector General of the Treasury to go into their books if they refuse to honor this.
Hey, Patrick, I use the U.S. Treasury as the lender on the 1099-A because I'm a part of the Treasury.
But see, we are a U.S. Treasury authorized representative as a U.S. Treasury officer of the Office of Credit, and so we are the main person, okay, in the Treasury, and then they are the debtor, okay, in the process, the utility company or whoever. But our office is being held by our fictional person also. But we as the living are the authorized representative for our fictional person. In all interfaces, you always have to have a fictional, a front man.
Right. Hey, Patrick, when I first went to get my birth certificate, I had called them and I told them I wanted the long form instead of the short form. They told me in order for me to get the long form, I was going to need a subpoena. I just wanted to run that by you and see what you thought about that.
Well, basically, I don't know. Some of these people, as long as you get and basically they've got to put that registration number on most of those accounts. The only one, especially if you're using this for your private usage, that's the big thing. I want this copy for my private records. Okay? If you're just go in there for a general certificate of live birth, like to use it to go and apply for school or something like that, okay, then they probably won't put that registration number on there because they know that that is a letter of credit, patented letter of credit account number. And see, they're trying to protect your letter of credit by not letting it out to some nitwit.
Right, yeah, because I didn't look at it as a negative. I looked at it like they were protecting it. You know, I just needed to come in the correct capacity to get it, you know. Okay, that makes sense. Because I know a couple weeks ago you were talking a lot about the birth certificate, and I wish I could have been on that call because I knew when I spoke to the representative, they said you were going to need a subpoena. This was in Pennsylvania, and they supposedly wrote a new act, even though we know it's unconstitutional, that, you know, you would need a subpoena in order to get it. Meanwhile, other states are just handing it to you when you do a regular request.
Yeah. And see, Pennsylvania is one of the oddball ones. I think Mass is another one in their endeavors that basically your registration or patented number is in a different format than most of the rest of the country, too. See, I think in some cases Pennsylvania tried to control all their stuff because, that was under, William Penn?
Yep.
In fact, they basically were one of the last approvers of the Constitution, even because they didn't like a lot of the things that went into the Constitution. Because they thought they were losing too much power to the general minion people, lower level people. The religious leaders or whatever the hell that sort of run that damn state.
Yeah, kind of crazy because when I first got the birth certificate back from them, it had minimal information, just some basic stuff. And so I called them back and I said, you know, I told them I wanted the long form. She was like, well, what do you need on it? I said, well, you know, I just need all the information on there. She was like, so are you trying to get dual citizenship? That rung a bell in my mind at the time, so I said yes. So she told me to send it back and that they would send it back to me with more information. This time they put the time I was born, the county, and stuff like that. And so it just made me realize that they really got a game going on over there, just based on the information they'll put out.
Yeah, and basically is what people, they try and, I don't know where they came up with this long form and short form. You basically want the one for your private records.
Right.
And if you say it's for my private records, that means you have to have all the information.
All the information.
Yeah. It's for your private records. You're not going to put it out into the public.
It makes so much sense, man, because they really took that birth certificate back and just sent me another one with more information on it. Wow.
And see, that's basically just listening and keeping your ears open and hearing different things about what the problem is. But in the form here in the state of Iowa, basically it says, what's your reason for needing this? And basically the best one is always to go, oh, I need this for my private records. Then you'll get all the information to where if you're just going for something that you need to have it for proof to go to the Social Security Administration or something like that, or to get your driver's license or to go to school or something, you don't need to have all that information on there because they don't want the information because they're going to use your Social Security account when they set it up, and that will tie you back into, they will be able to lease, they're going to become a subleasee and write liens against your letter of credit. They don't want you to use that as a letter of credit. That's the game they're playing.
Yeah, because at that time I wasn't as experienced with law, so I just kind of act like I knew what I was talking about. And I just said, Title 20 something says that I get this information, and they sent me straight to the supervisor, and the supervisor started helping me. It just goes to show the game they got going on.
Yeah. Well, it's not really about law. It's all about banking, for profit.
Right.
Yeah, money. Okay, and they're out there to try and make as much profit as they can. And when you start catching them with their hands in the cookie jar, but now we have the enforcement. Now that we see that we are a U.S. Treasury officer of the Office of Honor and Credit, then we have total power over these for-profit government employees.
Mm-hmm. I just read that in the Constitution. You pointed it out. I went to it, and it's sitting right there.
Yeah, if you get impeached, you're going to lose that privilege of being an officer of credit or officer of honor. In other words, you're not going to be able to access the Treasury account anymore, and you just lost out big time. But see, they got us in to alienate ourselves away from having that right. That was what their game plan was. Get the people to alienate themselves away from having all this stuff. Then they have to rely upon us for everything. Then we can control them. This was supposed to be a free country. But if you alienated yourself, you have now placed yourself into bondage, just like the Hebrews did back in Egypt.
Hey, can you say that again, Patrick? You said if you do alienate yourself?
Yeah, if you do alienate yourself, which is what they want you to do, you are placing yourself under their bondages and under their controls, just like the Hebrews did under the pharaohs in Egypt. Same thing happened in Daniel's time in Babylon. Same thing happened in Jesus' time in Jerusalem. This system out here of doing this, and it's all about banking, okay? You can either operate in just banking, in honor, or you can operate in dishonor as you have alienated yourself away from the real world. You've gone through the looking glass, like Alice and the Looking Glass, or Alice in Wonderland, going down the rabbit hole. Basically, that's what happened. Basically, you've gone into a different scenario. Now you have to find your way back out.
So now that you said that, do we need to click our heels 3 times, meaning do we need to send that document 3 times, or should once suffice? Yeah.
Just once, and basically they've got 3 days to get you out, just like 3 days in purgatory that Jesus had to hang on the cross. Basically, he had to wait his 3 days before they took him out of the system.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. And we all know they were giving us the signs all through, in those stories and everything. People just didn't pay attention to it, taking it too literal.
It's all about banking laws and the Jezebel system and the just system. Okay, anybody else looking over the document got any questions?
Yeah, this is Steve. I only have one question. You mentioned the DD-214, but you also said earlier that our selective service system number is also worth something.
Yeah, that's the patent number, and see, they didn't issue you a letter of patent because you don't have a DD-214, okay? So the patent number was there. If you fulfilled a military obligation, then they would give you the letter of credit. But since you didn't serve,
there's no letter of credit or patent since you didn't have to serve.
The patent number was sitting there, okay?
Yeah.
That if you did serve and then you got out with an honorable discharge, then you would have your letter of credit to go along with that patent number. But since you didn't have military service, you don't have a letter of credit to go along with that patent number.
Okay.
Okay, that's the game.
Right.
So we don't submit it if we just
You don't submit it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you don't have a letter of credit.
All right, Pat.
Yeah.
All right, now, like I got an honorable discharge, but I didn't stay in there long enough.
You put that in, okay, and see what happens.
Oh, okay.
Because that was what, a DD4?
Yeah, DD4.
Yeah. Put it in and see what happens. Okay? Because if you've got that, that is also a sort of like a mini letter of credit.
Okay.
I would say, yeah. Go ahead.
The question: What about the 98 EIN, the EINs that we're using? Are they still being applied?
Forget them. They are in the internal system. We want to get out into the external system.
Done. That was my main question because.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is this Ray?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
I
sir.
gave Tom some information about that. You have your certificate of live birth. You
Yes, I
can
do.
take that into the bankruptcy court, as that is a letter of credit, and you can go in there and now with you, when you read this letter, this document that I have, you know that you are a Treasury officer, and you can go in there and demand $10,000 for that certificate of live birth right now.
Okay, so I have not put in the document that you just put up.
You don't have to, okay? You are of age, and you can utilize that certificate of live birth as a letter of credit right now.
Okay. And would that work with any other business?
Just take it.
As to being able to acquire a place where to live?
Well, you get $10,000, you ought to be able to afford a motel room for a couple of weeks.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was thinking more like a mobile home or
basically get the motel room, get feeling a little better, and get the other document done, and then you can get full access to your assets. You close everything else down.
Done. I will comply. I will comply.
Try and think about this in one step at a time. You can't take a big step. You got to take a bunch of little baby steps.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand.
Okay.
Now, when you take the letter of certificate down to the bankruptcy court, does he endorse it, or is there some other document we fill out saying that we want the
Yes, I would basically claim that this is my letter of credit, and I am endorsing this over for a withdrawal. When you read the definition about letter of credit,
right,
and you are going to come in as a Treasury, U.S. Treasury officer as an officer in the office of honor. Okay, you're not in the office of Treasury, you're in the office of honor and credit.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, look at the title that I have and how you would sign that document that I have. You're coming in and you would sign for the person, okay?
Yes.
You are the author. U.S. Treasury authorized representative for the person's name that's on that document, because you don't have a last name yet. You have a family name.
Yes.
So that person that's on that document is a dead man's name, a nominal person's name. And you are the authorized representative for him. You are the U.S. Treasury authorized representative for him, and you would sign your name in there for him. And then down below, you would countersign it or co-sign it as in your name as the officer.
Okay.
Now, do we submit this to the clerk or try to get to see the judge?
Go to the clerk, the cashier.
Cashier. Okay, got it.
Yeah, they will. If they need, they will give it to the trustee or to one of the other accountants that needs to be looked at it. The vice president of that corporation or whatever of that
now
bank.
The question is,
because see, that bank, that is just a bank. All these courts are banks. Even your local court, you turn around and you basically come in as the landlord, and you sign that document when you submit it into that court as a U.S. Treasury officer of the Office of Credit or Office of Honor and Credit. Now that court is going to take notice that you have control over them, because these charges are basically, that's all they are. They're just fraudulent debt charges.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Insurance. Look at
Fraud.
it as basically insurance fraud. Yeah.
Insurance fraud, yeah.
And you're coming in as the insurance inspector in the process and saying, this guy's wrong. And if need be, you will turn this over to the U.S. Treasury Inspector General or the CID, because in most cases, these guys haven't been paying their income taxes.
Okay.
Read what my document says. I've got it all covered there.
Hey Patrick, I'm sorry. Did you see the case today with the Attorney General filing on the banks? I wanted to see if you thought that may come into what we're doing.
No, I didn't see it. What did it say?
So I don't have it pulled up yet, but I'm just give you the gist of it. She hit them for $2 billion for what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to pull it up for you. So I'll let someone else go, but I want to pull it up so I can tell you specifically what it said, because I want to see if you think it ties into what we're doing.
Well, anything that deals with fraud basically ties into what we're doing, because we're coming after these fraudulent debtors.
Well, there was 5 banks, Barclays, it was your 5 international banks, Citigroup. How they were dealing with derivatives.
Yeah, so it says big banks plead guilty to market manipulation, will pay $5.8 billion.
That's
well,
a drop.
basically, I would have gotten the Federal Reserve on market manipulation when I was trading commodities, but I was just a small-time trader. So basically, I didn't have the funds to go up against the Federal Reserve. But, the Federal Reserve controls the market, and they will pull things totally against you at the end of the day. You got to know how the game is played.
Right.
I mean, it's all about gambling. You are wagering a bet in their system. And that's the thing that you're doing right now with the driver's license. With all these things, you are making an insurance wagering. And then you are betting whether they're going to make the payment or not. And in a lot of cases, they try and take you into court and deny your right to payment.
Right, like my case here, I've got to pay off these past debt that they incurred, these fraudulent debts, and then get the chalkboard wiped clean and then go from there.
No, but see, you don't.
No?
You can turn around and file this back into the court against them. You're coming in as the U.S. Treasury officer
right.
of the Office of Credit or Office of Honor and Credit. Yeah. Now you stand superior to them, and you will call in the Inspector General and the CID because those guys now work for you because you're in the Treasury.
Right.
They have to support their fellow officers in the department.
I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to get my truck back when they want all these fees.
You turn around and you put the charge in basically against the court for the fraud, that basically the insurance policy under that driver's license, because they confiscated and also used the word Bill of Attainder.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That is outlawed in the Constitution.
Right.
Bill of Attainder, that's double T?
Yes.
Yes.
So it should be ATT.
There are to be no bills of attainder.
No ex post facto? Yep.
No bills of attainder. And when they confiscate your truck, that is a bill of attainder. They're trying to get you to pay unjustly for something.
They just tried to boot my truck the day before yesterday. And the guy is the second time, and he has not learned. I'd already told him to back off.
You will file a criminal charge of bill of attainder that's addressed in the Constitution against him or against his office, governmental office, corporation. And see, that's how they try and get around this, is that they are a private corporation. They're not a government organization. They're a private organization.
Then they have no business dealing with the public. If
right.
They're
nothing, like in most of these police forces and everything else, they are nothing more than the security guards for Walmart.
Policy enforcers.
Security guards. They both are able to carry guns. Now, as a Treasury officer, guess what? You have the right to carry a gun.
Matter of fact, since you're now a Treasury officer, you could carry actually a Class 3, too.
Right.
Which means full
that's
auto.
one of your immunities. Read my document. You will find more shit in there when you understand the power that document has.
I've been waiting for it, Patrick. I'm about to study it.
It's already there. Just, you got to, like me, I got to download it and look at it and read it, understand it.
Yes, sir.
And then put it to work.
Yeah, it took me about a day and a half to rewrite this whole thing from the one I had up there yesterday. And I had to redo it because I saw that it was a letter of credit and also that we were an officer, a U.S. Treasury officer of the Office of Honor and Credit that's addressed in the Constitution.
Office of...
So I shouldn't have to use my birth certificate to come up with the money and let them settle or do a set-off, they should just pay all the damages that they did to me.
They owe the payment to, since they are the leasee, subleasee, they owe the payment to the subleasor, who is not you, but the Secretary of the Interior, who is a branch of the United States of America Treasury.
Right.
Holy moly.
And see, you are coming in as a U.S. Treasury agent against them now, and basically if they do not make the settlement, you will call in your Treasury compadres, the CID and the U.S. or the Treasury Inspector General's office and the Secret Service and you name it, Homeland Security and everybody else. Because now you're an officer of the Treasury.
Right. We're letting them use their subleasee money to pay off the debt that was incurred by their wrongdoing, their Bill of Attainder, and their unreasonable seizure.
They owe credits to us for the rent, for the bonds that they're writing, okay?
Right.
So they owe it back to the Treasury. We are going to say, okay, you don't have to pay that back. You settle that, and you get that out to me right now. You don't, and I will file triple damages. I will place a commercial lien against you as a U.S. Treasury officer.
How do you determine the amount?
Enforcement. Okay? Here's our enforcement. As a U.S. Treasury officer, we have the enforcement power now.
Right.
And we're the only honorable ones in the process. They're totally operating in dishonor.
Yeah, for profit. Right.
Especially anybody that's got a bar card, they are totally in dishonor.
I got one for you, Patrick. This is another story from today. Woman sues debt collector, wins $83 million.
Say that again.
Is she good
Woman
looking?
sues debt collector, wins $83 million. This is right? I don't know what she looks like, but this is straight out of Yahoo Finance. Yes, indeed. 12 hours ago. And this was in Missouri.
She probably gave half of it to her attorney.
True. And it was only for a $1,000 credit card bill that she didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it says the jury found them guilty of violating the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, for which they will pay $250,000 in damages and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And the 82.9 million in punitive damages.
They'll probably declare bankruptcy and only pay a very minimum amount on that, and then they will shut down that side and reopen under a different name.
That's what they do.
I
know.
So the lady's
I've watched this game over and over out here all the time.
God, this is great.
Hey, got a question.
Yeah.
How do you determine the amount that they owe us and that we charge them?
What triple, quadruple damages? Multiplication.
You basically, they have a charge, okay? They tell you what the charge is. They've got to tell you what the charge is so you can basically determine the set-off of that. Okay? And in all court cases, you come in and offer settlement. And you turn it over to the prosecutor because, see, in any court case, the case is not against you, the living. it's against your fictional, your nominal person, and even the plaintiff on the other side who is doing the charging is a nominal plaintiff. Okay, that's why the state of is always in capital letters, because that's a nominal name. The living state of Iowa can't bring a charge against me, but a nominal person can. And then they have their nominal person representative as the prosecuting attorney, an agent for profit working for them. And basically he is totally in dishonor. So
then if I hear you correctly, it's relative to the amount that they charge us first.
Yeah. That's what you would be going back
but
after if they cause you harm, and basically you turn around, and if they don't do the settlement, then you triple that, and also what I said there, that they'll have to pay the court case, the attorneys, if we come in and put an attorney in place in there, because we don't want to handle the thing ourselves, we turn around and say, okay, here, you attorney, go take care of this, and basically you can put your fees down here and get some money out of these shitheads for me. Because it's all just a damn game, and you're going after them as a debtor, and let it be at that. But when we come out of the system, we will never be in their system. You should never get back into the looking glass again, or go down the rabbit hole again when you understand this document that I have, and you become a creditor because you have a letter of credit and you can pay for everything right now.
You know, the problem is, that, Patrick, a lot of people are not really educated in this. And
they do know this.
Okay.
Go to any bank and ask them about letters of credit.
Yep, they know what letters of credit are.
Yeah,
Yes, they do.
have other banks that give them letters of credit for somebody that has a bank account overseas or something.
Right.
All they bring with them is a letter of credit.
Yep. I was trying to bait these different companies and working with me in so many different ways. As soon as I said letter of credit, everybody jumps on and wants to give me a purchase order.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the limitation on a letter of credit? For example, the birth certificate.
What's the what?
What's the
Limitation.
money
The limitation on how much,
you can withdraw?
The limitation?
Exactly.
There shouldn't be none.
There is none on these Treasury. There may be right now, okay, because you are operating. You're not operating in total honor. You're operating in dishonor out here by having these alienations. You've got to do this document and terminate this, but you should be able to go in and draw out like $10,000 from the bankruptcy court. And basically when you put your signature down there as a U.S. Treasury officer, are they going to rebut that? No, because you're going to say, if you don't process this, I will call in the Treasury Inspector General upon you to find out why you did not honor this Treasury letter of credit. Yeah, if they dishonor that Treasury letter of credit, you call in the Treasury Inspector General. Yeah, you wanted enforcement. I'm giving you the full enforcement now. Your full right to carry a gun.
They got to give us that Social Security money back too, don't they?
They will close those all down, okay? But you've got more damn credits in the Treasury than what the Social Security has out there, so why worry about peanuts when you've got the damn mountain of whatever?
He got you. Yeah. It makes no sense. I got you.
Patrick, do I send this letter of credit? What do I have to do first for them to nullify my credit card?
You put that down on this letter that's going to the U.S. trustee.
Okay. And do they have a problem
you're coming in as a creditor to that U.S. trustee, and basically he is a U.S. trustee for the district. He handles, he can be both in the bankruptcy court or in the federal court on the other side, okay? He can be in both places. And several people have seen him over there in a federal court case to where some of these guys have been railroaded into prison on writing bonds and stuff. Okay? And why was that U.S. trustee there? Because he was sitting there waiting for that person to turn to him to have him set to obtain the credits to set the charges off. Because there was never supposed to be a debtor's prison in this country. He is the representative for the Treasury that was identified in the 5th Congress, 2nd Session, Chapter 49, in the first volume of the Statutes at Large. It's right there. It's documented. You turn to the Treasury to pay the debt. Now, if you've killed or injured somebody, and that's what you're going to jail for, to be punished, that is not a debt in a monetary scenario. But in most cases, the only court action that you should be going to jail for is murder. Anything else you should be making, if you've injured somebody, you should be making restitution to that person, just like it's called out in the Bible. That's the way this country was set up. You didn't make the payment to the Treasury when you injured somebody. You made the payment to them, to the injured party that you injured. But see, the corporations step in and they try and take all the stuff away from the injured party. They're taking it away from you, and they're taking it away from the injured party. That's the damn theoretic system. Go ahead.
Yeah. Does the bank have do they object to the fact when we call ourselves a U.S. Treasury representative?
Do they acknowledge you as a U.S. Treasury representative?
Do they acknowledge that?
It don't make a damn bit of difference whether they acknowledge it. They better acknowledge it when you sign that. What proof do they have to deny that you are not a U.S. Treasury representative? You ought to be able to see and read between the lines that you are a U.S. Treasury representative because you have a U.S. Treasury letter of credit with that certificate of live birth.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, this is my letter of credit, and it was issued by the U.S. Treasury under the director being a patented registration number. So it's a patented, registered letter of credit, irrevocable, a special one at that, because it's in one person, one individual's name.
Yes, special.
Yeah, and it's confirmed because it has the state seals on it.
Hey, Patrick, I looked up the definition of lawful money, and it said treasury bond. Is the birth certificate considered a treasury bond?
No.
Okay.
It's a letter of credit.
Just letter of credit. Okay. I was
You
just
don't
thinking
worry
about that.
You don't worry about lawful money. You worry about just getting money that basically these guys use. The Treasury, when you go in for your credits, they will pull out $1 of silver and convert it into 17 Federal Reserve dollars and give that to you to utilize out here. But they're taking only $1 of credit out of the Treasury. Now, you want $10,000? Okay, you divide that 10,000 by 17, and that's how many silver dollars they're going to pull out of silver dollar credits. They're going to pull out of the Treasury. So you've got to know the monetary conversion, and that's why we just have the letter of credit. We don't worry about the small stuff.
Right.
We let the accountants in the back room handle that bullshit. See,
Right.
we are the Lord and Master of this country. Let's make the servants do their damn job.
Yep.
Do we have to be out of the system before we can use this letter of credit?
No.
Okay.
Hey, now.
It would be very advisable to get out of the system. I mean, basically, you do this letter that I've got here and get that sent in, and basically you have them under a 3-day time frame after they receive it, acknowledge receipt of it, then they have to comply with the process. How many days did supposedly Jesus hang on the cross? 3 days. That was your purgatory time. And then you got resurrected into heaven.
I think he was in the vault those 3 days, not on the cross.
No, he was just in the vault overnight, or wasn't it?
No, he was all day.
Oh,
on the
yeah,
cross.
yeah. He had to come down off the cross. Yeah, he's in the vault Thursday evening before sundown, and then Friday, Saturday, and he rose Sunday morning. So basically, it was, even though it appeared to be 2 days, it was really 3 days in the old time scenario, because they operated as a new day begins at midnight, not or at noon. At noon, not at midnight.
Right. So I'm looking at my birth certificate. It says state file number on the top left, and then other than that, there's a barcode with a number at the bottom. But I don't know what that number is. I think that's
the number. Does it have 3 digits, 2 digits, and 6 digits? The registration number.
Yeah, I have 2 and then 6. And then other.
And there should be a 3-digit in front of that.
I don't have it. I got 2 and then a dash and then 6 numbers.
Yes, and there's a 3-digit number for your district that you were born in.
Okay, I don't know. That's probably not on here.
Yes, we had that.
No, that has been posted on the group site for the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Whatever.
A couple of times it's been posted up there.
Okay, so I got to add the first 3 numbers then.
Yes. Okay. You just need to put the first 3 numbers, and then you've got your patent number.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I'm glad I asked that. I'll look for that.
So, Patrick,
I've addressed that numerous times on the calls before, okay?
Yep.
Right. Yeah, I remember you saying that. I just didn't recall it, that's all. Yeah. It's for your state or your region, like you said.
It's for your district.
Your district, yeah.
Okay? Like in the state of Iowa, there's 2 districts. There's a northern district and there's a southern district. I'm in 114 in the southern district. I don't know what the number is for the northern district because I don't give a shit because I wasn't born up there.
Okay, so it's a federal district is the 3 numbers in front of the state's number.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a patent district number.
Okay.
All except for Pennsylvania and Boston and maybe Massachusetts. I don't know, a few wild cards out there that wanted to be rogues in the damn process of trying to control their own shit.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I asked that because otherwise I wouldn't have the right number. Yeah. Federal district number.
Yes, that the 3-digit state code is in the 101 National Court of Equity folder. It's a 3-digit state code HTML.
Okay, I'm going to say that National
Court of Equity. National Court of Equity.
National Code of Equity.
Court.
Oh, Court of Equity, okay. Court of Equity, okay. And that's the name of the file, okay.
Right.
Now, that's the name of the folder.
Oh, okay, okay, folder, right.
The file is in that folder.
Okay, I'll find it.
3-digit state codes. Now, Iowa only has 114. New York has 3 different codes. Louisiana has 2 codes. Maryland has 2 codes. Everything else has 1 code.
Okay. I get it. That's just like what you said before about the zip code. That's the trackage. That's the tracks that go to your house or to your area, your region.
To your patent. Okay? You are a patented land. Okay? They're patenting you.
Patented land, right.
And then they are giving you a letter of credit under your patent number.
Okay.
Which is registered under your nominal person's name.
Yeah. Because all business has to be done that way.
So we can take our certificate of live birth down to the bank and deposit it one time and then keep going back for different transactions off that one deposit, or do we have to deposit a new one?
Why mess with that, okay?
Okay,
you guys try and do something entirely different. I'm trying to get you out of the system.
Okay.
I'm trying to get you to get that black Treasury debit card, okay?
Okay. Go for the big stuff.
Yeah, then you can go to any ATM machine around. So you go into a bank and you set up an account with them, they're going to try and report you every time you take out more than $10,000 in cash at a time.
Right.
But if you go to an ATM machine, you can use this debit card. Say they might limit you to take out $2,500 out of this ATM machine, but that doesn't stop you from going all over town and taking out $2,500 out of 25 different ATM machines during the day.
Right.
25 times 2,500, how much you got?
62,500.
You got quite a bit of change.
Right.
But you can also basically take your debit card down there and go in and buy a vehicle. You can buy a house with your debit card. Why do you want to have a commercial bank account? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay. Well, you did mention we could put it in there, but this is a better solution. Right.
Yeah, that's because some of you people just want to keep going back for a free frying pan and get yourself into hot water every time you do that shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I would stay the hell out of the damn places. If you want to go and gamble, take a little and go to the damn casino, because that's all you're doing when you go to one of these commercial banks. You're gambling on whether you're going to get that money back the next day.
That's true.
Because they might just close the door and not open up in the morning, okay?
They're in bad shape, and that's bound to happen soon.
Yeah. And at least you might get a little enjoyment out of going to a casino. You could take in a show, and you might get a free room or a platter of food or whatever free. Even though you're losing at the tables, basically you have a little something. You got a little substance back in return, to where at a commercial bank you may not get anything back, even if you put it in a safety deposit box at that bank.
Right, to lock you out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're just thieves.
That's why you go out and get a bunch of coffee cans or basically plastic containers and start burying them around to where they can't find the damn things. I wouldn't go to the coffee can because basically they come around with the damn item there, but basically you can hide those things away with like a plastic coffee jar or something like that seals up. Put a little paraffin around the top of it, and basically it'll become watertight. Think outside the box, people. Just make sure you cover up the hole, and so you then mark it where you know where it's at. Any other questions, comments, rebuttals?
Yeah, Patrick, I was reading Minnesota Rule 220 on birth certificates, and just key words that I noticed was the word outstanding. So yeah, the birth certificate's abandoned until we come and get it. And also on the authentication page that came from John Kerry, they used the word annex. So they basically saying they moved it from one place to the other. So I just wanted to throw those key words out there, you know, that people may be able to check out.
Yeah, and see, but that one that you got from John Kerry was that you annexed that usage to go to Taiwan. Like the guy down South Carolina, he annexed it for usage overseas in Morocco.
Right, so I can go to Taiwan and have a field day.
he had his apostille because Morocco is on the apostilling list.
Right.
Okay? But we don't need to do that if we're operating right here inside the country, because they're only going to issue that to you if you validate you are who you are.
Right.
They validate. You have to send a photocopy in of your fictional nominee that he took a picture 6 months ago, and that's your fictional person at that point in time. It's not you right now at the present time, because you might have a beard now.
Right.
And then you had to get a notary, someone who did made a confirmed process, doing a confirmation.
Well, I'm going to be studying this document tonight.
Okay.
When you say sign your thing over, I thought you said you just use your number on your birth certificate. You don't sign it over and surrender anything, do you?
If you're going to go into like the bankruptcy court to get cash,
yeah,
you put a value on the back of that certificate of live birth, and you cash that amount in. You can go and get another copy of it.
Okay.
Okay? But when you want cash, you have to give them something in return for it.
Right.
Now, in a lot of other cases, you can basically just go in and put your letter of credit account number on file.
Right.
They don't need to have all the other garbage that's on that document. The only thing that they're really looking for is basically, yes, it was a letter of credit, and here is the letter of credit patented account number.
Right. Okay.
So, Patrick, let me ask you about that account number. So that account number is not the file number, but I did see another number in red at the bottom.
That is a sequence number for issuing that as a security.
Okay. I got you.
Same question I just asked there, buddy. He said.
Yeah.
And see, then you can turn that security in for a certain value.
Yes.
You assign the value.
I'll probably ask the same question. I'm just multitasking.
Yeah. Well, basically, the patented registration number at the top is basically the letter of credit account number. That sequence number down below is just there for the state that they issued that as a security to track counterfeiting.
Right.
Just like the number on the back of your Social Security card. That number, basically, each time you go and get one, it's going to have a new number because that's a security number for counterfeiting. They keep that number on file so that basically if anybody tries to use that number different than you, then they can go after them for counterfeiting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that number that Patrick just mentioned, the sequence number for printing purposes, for filing and their own record keeping for to stop counterfeit, that probably has a barcode on it too.
Well, in some states it does, some states it doesn't.
Right.
Ohio doesn't.
Yeah, Pennsylvania doesn't have the barcode, at least for the birth certificate.
Yeah, it's only big states like California that want to play in the computer world because Microsoft is helping them.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I could figure out how to find that number, Patrick. I may have to just contact Pennsylvania. Okay, I'll contact Pennsylvania and tell them that I need the birth certificate for private record keeping.
Yeah, I mean, in Pennsylvania, it should be a 7-digit registration number.
Okay.
Okay, it's not going to be a 3-2-6 number. Pennsylvania is one of the oddballs out there, and they use a 7-digit sequencing number.
Gotcha.
How many people can they handle under a 7-digit sequencing number?
10 million.
Roughly 9,999,999. I don't think you have that many people in the state of Pennsylvania.
Right.
No.
Even the dead ones.
Right.
I still don't think you come up to that number.
Okay.
And then in some cases, if they run out of that, they will start trying to use a letter in the process. And then with a letter, they add 26 more to it. So now you've got 26 times almost 10 million. So now you're talking about 260 million different combinations.
I just find it crazy that they don't want to, in Pennsylvania at least, they don't want to give up that certificate of live birth. Yet they made me send verification of my identification.
All states do that.
Right.
Okay, you just have to know which one to ask for.
Right. Yeah.
You weren't asking for the right one.
And purpose. I know the purpose now, too.
Yeah. You have to have it for your private usage.
Yes, indeed. Because I actually called one of those. I was trying to get the fax number for one of those superior court judges, as you were directing like a few weeks ago. And when I called, I actually spoke to the bailiff, and he was saying we don't give the number out to the public. I said, well, I'm private, and he all of a sudden he wanted to listen. I thought that was funny. Like, wow, they just change up as soon as you say private.
Yeah. Now when you come in a public office capacity as a U.S. Treasury officer in the office of, you don't have to tell them which office you're in, but basically we know which office we're in. We're in the Office of Honor and Credit. And that is right in the Constitution, and you could shove it right in their face.
Nice. Yeah, because that federal, I was always trying to get to that level of the federal Constitution, because, I had the state Constitution down packed, so I had to move to the next level, which was the federal, and that's awesome. That's it right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the Treasury you want to go to, is the National Treasury.
Like that movie, National Treasure.
Yeah.
Nice.
And basically, where's the National Treasure held? In both of them, National 1 and 2, it was underground.
Underground.
It used to be underground in Cairo, Illinois, but since they had the earthquake there back in the 1800s, they moved it out of Cairo over to Springfield, Missouri, underground about 5 miles down. You people just don't realize there's an underground railroad system in this country, tunneling system and everything.
Mm-hmm.
People just don't realize that.
Yeah, they try to show us little hints of it, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You'd be insane to think that these people aren't doing that.
That's all aliens. It's not necessarily all aliens that are down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard it's called the National Transportation System. They're maglev trains that go approximately 1,000 to 2,000 miles an hour.
Whew.
In a vacuum maglev, there's nothing touching. It's all maglev in a vacuum tube.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called the Hidden Empire. National Transportation System. So there's probably some freed men down there.
Well, you don't worry about that. You worry about getting out of the system right now.
Yeah,
so let's don't even talk about that anymore, okay?
Yes, sir. I know the real world is underground, just like in the Matrix. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Any questions or any comments about this document that I put out there today? Why?
Well, I'll just share the information with the guy that was looking for the same number I was. Go to the file system, and it's called the Nation Court of Equity folder. Okay. And then under that folder, way down, more than halfway down, there's a file called 3-digit state codes.
Yeah, but see, in Pennsylvania, he don't need that because they don't have a 3-digit code in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And that's the same way that some of these people that were born before 1948, see that 3-digit numbering system, initial numbering system, didn't really go into place until 1948.
Yeah, for Pennsylvania, they have a 4-digit. It's 1377. From what I'm looking at, it says PA-1377.
And that might be only for, like, in the Philadelphia area.
Okay. Just thought I'd help them.
Yeah.
Thanks for helping me, you guys, for telling me that, like Tom and others. Yeah, because that was something we hadn't talked about lately. It's a good reminder.
And if you need to, go to the Secretary of the Interior, to the Patent Office. Request it from them.
Right.
What is the number that I'm supposed to be, how is the number sequencing for Pennsylvania?
Right. Yep, I'll get to work on that tomorrow.
See, we never went to the Secretary of the Interior the way we should have been going to them. And that's the catch-all that's everything is operating out here in the internal running of the country, for the internal treasury of the country.
Internal. No, not internal. What'd you just call it?
Internal.
Yeah, internal.
Just like the internal revenue.
Right. I thought you were mentioning something else.
And basically all those EINs are internal employer identification numbers. And when we stop being in the internal and we go to the external, the other side of the looking glass, the real side, the reality side, we won't need those numbers. Because when we operate as a true creditor, we owe no taxes.
Right.
We can't be taxed. We can't be charged because we are only going to come in and do a settlement right up front. See the beauty of it?
Settlement. Yeah, you said just exchange too. Settlement up front. Just exchange, parentheses.
You cannot operate this office of honor for profit. You can't make a profit out of this office. If you do, you're going to lose that office. That right. But that doesn't stop you from taking your assets out and investing in a farm in the private and making a profit off of that farm, or starting a private enterprise and making a profit off of your labor that you put into the process.
Right.
That is entirely different.
Right.
The profit that they're talking about is this unjust profiteering using bonds and liens out there against a certain item. The Jezebel monetary profiteering system. And then the very last words in that conclusion is very, when you go into the dictionary and understand what that says. Okay? I'll let you look that up. The last two words basically were to where I am thanking them for your official, or for your United States official
Gratuitous service, yeah. Gratuitous. You want us to look that one up, service.
That means there is no fees associated with that service.
Yeah.
Now, when you come in as a U.S. Treasury officer, they cannot charge you with a court filing fee. Because when they charge you with that court filing fee, they're going to try and get a Social Security number or some accounting number to where they will write bonds against your assets.
Oh.
Yeah. They're there for a profit. When you come in now as a U.S. Treasury officer of the Office of Honor and Credit, they have to stay in honor too, and they cannot charge for that service. Because it's already paid for. It's paid out of the tariff taxing system in this country.
Those are the only lawful taxes there are, really.
Yeah, well, it's basically also from the funds that they owe back to the Treasury.
Right.
But they can't write any bonds or liens against your assets any longer. Then you would always, if you ever did have to go into court, you would always be coming in as the plaintiff, but in most cases, you place the UCC in place, and basically they're going to try and settle that right away. Because you won't be the one going into court. You will be turning it over to like that U.S. trustee or to the Attorney General, the attorneys operating under the Attorney General's office, or to the Inspector General of the Treasury, or to the CID, to basically be the initiating their legal departments, to be the initiator of the legal action against these other nitwits.
Right. You with the power of the United States behind you.
Yeah, you sit in the background. You reap the rewards.
Good advice. Yeah, you got to think about
You're
this.
You're sitting on all the pillows there in your teepee over there in like in the Middle East, sitting on all the pillows. You're the Shah, and they're basically the servants.
Good.
Just don't abuse that right and privilege that you have. And know your limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that you used the word.
Huh?
I noticed that you used the word injunction, and yep, I did an injunction against the Attorney General, and I stated that the state constitution says that the military is in strict subordination to the civil power, and that's the basis that I did my injunction on.
Well, basically, you're doing a Treasury injunction against if that there again you had to offer to do settlement first.
Right.
You have to do your process properly, and I can guarantee you that most people have not done that. That's like I tried to say on Sunday night's call. We have not done our in these court actions our actions properly. And so many people are out here trying to fight and go out and then charge all of these items out here. Well, it's because we have not done our job properly first.
Right.
Because we did not know who the hell we were.
Right. No clue.
And we were stuck on the other side of the looking glass, and basically in Alice in Wonderland, or whatever, the court, the Queen's court, basically she can make up the rules however they want. And what do? Out here right now on the other side of the looking glass? They change the rules. The judges will change the rules. The legislatures will change the rules, and you'll never know what the hell the rules are tomorrow. You think you're arguing one thing, and all of a sudden they've changed the whole game plan on you. Because it's all for their benefit. It's not for your benefit. But you get out into the real world as a officer of the Office of Honor, you've only got a very limited number of laws that you're going to be operating by, and those can't be changed. Most of those are the basic, natural, and common laws that are on the books. Any other comments? Any other new people want to say anything? Speak up.
Yes, who's new here today?
Huh?
Yeah, who's new here today?
Are there any new members on the group's call?
Apparently not, then.
Yeah, I tried to get people to talk on the beginning when we were just waiting around at 5 o'clock, and nobody said anything.
Yeah. You guys have to get this word out to other people out there. Spread the word.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this is so damn simple now. Show them a copy of this document. Say, here, you want out of the system? This is what you want. You want to be able to carry your gun as a real officer of the country? Here, become a Treasury officer.
I've been circulating it some.
Yeah, you'll get your badge and everything.
Mhm. I presented this to the guy that I was working with before. I presented it to him, and he was looking at it like, "Hey, let me know what happens when you get done with that," because he knew I was going. That this information is the right direction. This is the direction we all need to be going in. And if people are scared out there, that's on them.
Yeah. And say, hey, I may not be able to talk to you in 3 days' time here.
For real.
Yeah. I may not want to talk to you.
Exactly.
That's
what I've been trying to tell people
right now.
Yeah, they want to wait until you get done first.
For a change, and I won't have time to talk to you.
Right.
Great, Patrick. This has been an excellent call. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This is like running a marathon, man. I think we're getting ready to go across the checkered flag here.
Yes, indeed.
Well, basically, I don't know how many people were able to download the document from yesterday, but if you do a comparison between the two, you ought to see a immense difference between the two documents.
Oh, yeah, I have.
I didn't get the one from yesterday. I just got the one from today.
Okay, well, then you don't have to worry about looking at the difference. But basically, this document that I put up today, this is I think the document of all documents that I've done.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it, too. I knew it was coming.
This one's going into orbit.
And then basically, like I said, you send it into that U.S. trustee, and basically then you give them roughly 3 days after the delivery to have that processed. And I probably should have given them until Thursday. And basically, even in the document, the way I did it, by day's end. Okay?
Yeah. Of the 27th, he said.
Yeah. But I was planning on trying to mail it out today, but I didn't get it mailed out today. But I did fax it, and I sent it out as a official intergovernmental fax.
Yeah.
Now, see, when you operate in the intergovernmental system, they had better recognize that fax. If not, they're dishonoring another government office.
So, Patrick, have you been sleeping any better after you came up with this last letter? Brief?
Sleeping any better?
Yeah.
Not when I'm up all night working on the damn thing.
Yeah, I guess not. It's hard to get to bed when you're working on stuff.
Can't relax for nothing.
Right. Worked until about 10 o'clock, slept until about 1 o'clock, and been up at it I took about an hour's nap about 10 o'clock again till about 1 or 11:30, and was back at it trying to finish it up.
Yeah.
So I could at least get it faxed out today.
Yeah, it's great. It's like...
Hey, Patrick, we can't give you money, man, because you're going to have all the money you need, so we're going to have to give you a gift after we get done, if we can find you.
Yeah. probably be hidden away.
Right on.
Yeah, we need to be able to get together every once in a while.
I'll probably be sitting down there on that gold reserve down underneath the 5 miles under Springfield, Missouri.
You're not leaving me.
That's yours?
That's what you say to him.
Okay. Well, you guys take care. We'll call it tonight. That should be about 2 hours.
Yes.
Of
Thank
bullshit.
you, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. I'm about to study. Thank you.
Listen to the phone call 10 times, guys. It just fits. You have to listen to it 10 times.
Yes, indeed.
It's full of detail. Yes.
Yeah, just make sure you go through. I will send Tom a list of the words that I used tomorrow, and that you should be able to go through the dictionary in a lot of the words that I used and look up the definitions of them. Okay? On your own. But basically I'll send Tom a copy of my markups because I highlight certain things in the definitions to bring the point out of what the definition is really trying to say. And that's what a lot of people don't have the comprehension to ascertain exactly what is being said. Like basically the usage of a word in the noun form as compared to the usage in a verb form. And see, I even missed that one. And I had to take a re-look at it to go back into it, and that was for alien.
Right.
You wouldn't think that alien could be used as a verb.
Mm-hmm.
But it is.
Right. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Okay.
And in some cases, you're not going to find this in all of their law dictionaries. They've hid some of these words away, or they won't even put them in the law dictionaries. That's why you should always have a good universal, either Oxford or Webster's big dictionary, older one, preferably somewhere around the 1930s or older dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a copy of that Anderson's Law Dictionary, 1889 version, comes in very handy.
I go down to the law library. They got a lot of good dictionaries over there.
But the ones that they use in most courts are Bouvier's and some of Black's. And they only use some of the other words out of some of the other law dictionaries when it's to their benefit, not yours.
Right.
Right.
So, okay. You guys have a good night. We'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you,
You too, Patrick. Thanks, man.
Okay.
I
Later.
wish you the best. I hope things go through.
Yes, indeed.